and welcome to a review of the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Accel version 2, or the Real Bone version. Quick look at the back of the box. And poses, and of course, just like any other SH Figuarts come in this line, go printed on the top of the box right there. Box opens up very nicely, just like all the other ones, and it's very smooth. See, when you open the box, it's got the figure. If you're from Hong Kong, you have a survey card, which you never win anything from. The little text there to make it all fancy and stuff and meaningful, like, oh, it's a new figure line. And of course, the instruction sheet. If you want to take a closer look at the instruction sheet photo shoot of the figure as well as the box art, please feel free to head over to the Flickr link or Facebook link in the video description below. Based inside the box, as with all these figures, top tray holds the figure. Open that up very easily and the figure is here, and you can see it's protected by a lot of plastic sheets, probably because of his shiny paint, which has a tendency of sticking if left untouched for a while. So it's good that they have all of this protecting it, because I mean, you start playing with it. Once you start doing that, then the paint is a lot stays a lot better. But the first time, look, like this joint right here, he's not rotating. There we go. Probably stuck to something. No plastic protecting sheet there is because the joint underneath is not, well, it is painted, but it's not that noticeable. Bottom tray here, we have a lot of accessories, and so we're going to have to be a little bit careful in opening the top here, especially since we have guy memories in here. Yeah, well, that stays on. Really, come on. Did anything fall out? No, but this here is that we have, apart from the fist already attached to him, he has, let's see, he has spray open hands, sword gripping hands, I guess motorcycle gripping hands, sword gripping hands where it's slightly angled, relaxed hands, and two posing hands, one for holding his guy memory and one to, I'm sorry, that's not the sword gripping hand, that's his belt holding hand. So you got that, and of course you got the two guy memories, the sword there, and of course an alternate head, which makes it look more like that he's lit up. Look at the sword, and it is very, very detailed compared to the old one. Based inside the box, as with all the. So compared to the old Kamen Rider Accel, the new one has the guy memories to hold the guy memories, because the old one also has relaxed hands, belt holding hand, sword holding hand, fist, and spray open hands, and of course has the extra head for the light up head. Both of them have the. So the new sword is way more detailed than the old one. Now both of them, even though the old one didn't have guy memories, both of them do have the open articulation. So that's neat for the old one. A bit of paint chipped off mine. That paint kind of got glued onto the hand of the figure, so it got stuck there, which is annoying. A good thing I have that sword with the. I think I had that sword in the other two forms. Anyway. Finer on the new one, much sharper. Everything's just that more, well, detailed. And stuff. There's also more paint details where they should be, and of course it also uses a transparent piece of plastic because you need to be able to put the guy memory in there. For example, we have the engine memory, a very nice little silver memory. You can stick that in there, and fits in very snugly. The old one's very stiff. The metal piece there, don't you see it just right there? The metal pin maybe is a little bit busted, who knows. So yeah, you got the joint that's visible in the old one, and the new one has hidden that. See, both of them pretty much the same hardness of plastic. Just turn them around. Again, same comparisons apply to the back. New one's much finer and more detailed than the old one. In terms of hands, they're both very close to each other. Bottom row is the new one, and the top row is the older set. And yeah, the new one has guy memory holding hands, but the old one has hands that can sort of hold guy memories. We just bend it a little bit, and we sort them to hold. On the left hand side, we have the spray open hands, and then we have the belt holding hands, and then the sword holding hands, and then the sort of relaxed posing hands. Interesting though, the old one actually has a hand that's kind of like a thumb pointing at itself. It's like, don't ask me any questions. And the new one doesn't have that, so that's kind of curious that it doesn't have. And the quality of these hands are so close to each other. Details are a little bit more defined on the new one, but honestly, unless you look really close at them, you're not going to tell the difference. Both sets of these hands are very, very close to each other. They might as well be the same set of hands. So they're even cross-fittable. Old hands can fit on the new one, and the new hands can fit on the old one because the ball joint on both Figuarts are very similar in size. In fact, these two sets are so close to each other that I got them mixed up one time. I had to slowly put each one into the tray and made sure they fit in the tray to know which one's the new set and which one's the old one. Also using a photograph of the old set that I took of the tray to make sure I didn't mix them up. So I'm not going to mix them up again. I'm just going to be really careful and move this set away from the new ones. Old one on the left and new one on the right, and of course you can see the old ones are much shorter than the new ones because the new ones, SRGA has gotten, all of them have been going slightly little bigger just to make the proportions seem more natural. Old Axel is very, very skinny, but he's not a bad Figuarts. I think considering that he was released 2010, that's 7 years ago. For its time, a lot of details are printed there, and he is painted very nice with that metallic red. The molding isn't too bad at all, and the articulation is still solid till now. I mean, okay, it's a little bit loose, but it's so far pretty solid. But of course, compared to the new one, you can't really compare. The new one is so much better in terms of proportion. I have here the original head that came with the original Axel. So the head is probably the worst part. It was so bad, in fact, that in 2011, so a year later, when they released Kamen Rider Axel Booster, the yellow one, it actually came with an extra head that you can swap onto him to replace. And I'll put the picture up on there so you can sort of roughly see the comparison. The old head, it did have a transparent blue visor and it did mold the details underneath, but it is very, very hard to see. You need a strong light to see the details of the head. I'm just going to zoom in on both of them now. Whoa. And you can see here, it's almost impossible to see the stuff inside the head. I'm shine a light on it now. You can see it's reflecting on the camera now, but you can see the new one, even without that light, it is much. Now, if I were to have the booster head as a comparison, you can see that one does have the show a bit better, but you still need like a light on it just to get it to really show up. So, and of course the proportions of the old head is ridiculous. The proportions of the newer head from the booster is much nicer than the original. Although the old booster head still has a lot of issues. For example, there are a lot of molding issues. You look at the back of the head, this is quite rough. So other details that are different. Of course, you have the hinge showing up on the shoulder pads, and for some reason the wheels down here so they can move. The new one doesn't have that. Not really sure why that was needed, but that's a difference. And of course the old one uses die cast feet, the new one doesn't. Old one doesn't have no printing on the bottom of the feet, and the new one does, to make it again a little bit more accurate. Quick look at the side of him again. New one is just that much detailed, and here's the back. See, even the wheel is a little bit bigger on the new one. So, and a huge sort of screwdriver pad there. That plastic piece is hiding the screwdriver. Both of them have trans stamp. The new one's hidden just ever so slightly better. And here's a big difference, of course, with the guide memory. So the new one, you can put the Axel memory into the belt as a thing. So I'm just going to do that. But if you see the original Axel belt, painting it red at least, which is better than the Cyclone Joker or any other Kamen Rider double forms, because they didn't paint those at all. They just left it black, which is really annoying. You can remove the old driver from the old belt. You can see here it's got the pattern molded in underneath, which is cool for an older Figuart, but the belt itself is attached to the rest of the hip, meaning the belt itself is not detachable. Now the new one also does that, but it does it in the reverse order. So the detail's actually nicer on the old one because there's a big gaping hole in his belt on the new one. The reason why there's a hole there is because they can't have the peg plugging into the belt itself, the driver itself, because you need room to slot the guy memory in there. So they've done it in the reverse order. Both of them are very secure on the belt itself. Now that means that the new one, when you put the belt there, and that doesn't look nice, whereas if you have the DX toy or you've seen the show, you know that he can take that off and there's a full belt underneath that. So that's a bit disappointing, but understandable. Through the articulation, we have the head that goes down, goes up, sideways, sideways. So full rotation here. We have a wheel that spins here. The old one spins too. Shoulder pads on a hinge. So upper shoulders on a double socket, double ball joint socket, up, down, due to his shoulder pad. Full rotation here. Double, no single. No, double elbow there, but it's quite hard to move the upper arm. Oh well, it's there. Hand on a ball and swiveling joint, so full rotation. Torso goes up, down, sideways, sideways. Moves very well and very tight. Look at that. It's almost seamless. It's very good. Leg rotates here, not fully, not 360 degrees. Leg goes up, leg goes back, leg goes sideways. Lost silver there. Double knee joint. Foot goes up, down. Toe goes up 45 degrees. Goes down flat. And yeah, there we go. To the conclusion, I will say that nice. I can't really say that for the numerous paint, out of lines bits here and there. There's 2 bits on the leg. There's 1 bit on the back of the shoulder. There's a little bit of a little chip on the helmet, which is inexcusable. And on the alternate head that I have, there's a whole patch of silver missing. And that's just really annoying. Definitely a little bit of a quality control issue. I haven't seen anyone else with that big of an issue yet online, but I'm not happy with seeing these on a figure like this, which is supposed to be a slightly more premium line of SH figures, which are already supposed to be kind of premium figures. New version of Kamen Rider XL is very nice. Now obviously if you have bad quality control issues like me, that's going to be really irritating, but if you're lucky like most people and don't have that, then you're going to have a great figure on your hand. The accessories are great, the guy memories are great. I would recommend just a double figure is to put just a tiny small dip, a tiny small ball of blue tack inside the driver so that the memories won't drop out, because once you drop them you're not going to find them. They are so tiny. So I recommend doing that with the XL driver. No need for the engine blade, because unless you want it in the open position, because once it closes it does keep the guy memory in there quite safe. But if you want it open display, then you're going to probably want to drop just a small drop of blue tack in there just to keep it secure. The articulation is great, the overall movement, the scale, the shapes and sizes all good, and the light up head where they have little painted dots inside really reflect very well. So I'm very pleased to get this figure. I am a huge fan of Kamen Rider Double as a series, and I like the characters in there, including Kamen Rider XL. But I will say this: if you are a fan of Kamen Rider Double, but not necessarily a fan of XL or the side characters, if you have the old XL and you, like me, have the Kamen Rider XL booster that came with the replacement head, the reason to upgrade to this is not too big, unless you really want your figures to hold or mess around with. The old one is a very good figure. It's not obviously not as good as the new one, but it's still very, very good. So unless you're really big fan of Kamen Rider XL, the old one will suffice. It is a little bit shorter, but it still matches very well with the new version of Kamen Rider Double, and it is a good figure in its own right for its time. So only big fans of this particular character will want to upgrade, and the rest of the people, it's not too big of a jump compared to the old one. I will say this right now: the Unidentified Zero, the boss for Kamen Rider Kuuga, his new version is the closest to the old one, and I would say this is the second figure that's the closest to the old one. That the old one has stood up the best. It's the second best that it's done. Kamen Rider badly and Decade is very big jump, and Kabuto as well. and Agito. That was a very big jump. But this one, the jump isn't as big as the other ones.